coming out of Denver. The Denver, Colorado area is episode 48. And yes, we are live and been looking forward to this one. Yeah, we're talking about a real pro in stand-up comedy. He's a stand-up comedian. He's a promoter, a producer, Denver-based. Cap Hill Confidentials. He was in the sold-out show with the national touring act Mike Rainey. He's been the judge in the 2026 Heartland Comedy Club. Founder of the Stand-Up Comedy USA. He runs and he's created the Comedy Cartel with 5,000 plus members. He's been in the Denver Improv. He's been in Comedy Works, Rise Comedy. He's been around. He's at the viral clip, 1.5 million. The 3 Rules of Acid. He's here tonight. Let's welcome live on Wrestling with Comedy, Bear Love Comedy. Welcome, brother.
Here's my wrestling intro.
Yeah, man. Excelente. It's so good to have you here on the show, brother. I am your host, people, the real deal Joel Davis, former pro wrestler, MMA fighter, motivational speaker, currently stand-up comedian, promoter, and podcaster. And our show tonight is about the man, Bear Love Comedy. Bear, let's start it right up and get into it, bro. When did you start in stand-up comedy? Tell us about that first time on stage. Where was it? Who was it for? And tell us about that first time on the stage, bro.
My first time on the stage was at the Columbus Comedy Funny Bone. It was an open mic, and I literally drove 2 hours just to get one of their bucket pull spots. And I guess the universe wanted me to do comedy because I got pulled first out of the bucket.
Wow.
So I drove 2 hours without even a guaranteed spot, and it happened. I accepted that it wasn't possibly going to happen, and I was going to go home and maybe chicken out another time. But that happened after COVID, and then I just never stopped. I instantly quit my job because all of those apps you can download and work on the road. So I just started pursuing every open mic opportunity because Michigan, you got to drive pretty far for a regular thing. So I just made that my first come to stand-up comedy. Is I just traveled around and did my own DoorDash and went mic to mic. And there's only a few things that like give you that passion where as soon as you get off the stage, you want to clock into delivering food in a random city. Like, there's not many things that I will go deliver food for, but getting on stage was one of the things that gave me the passion to just make money so I can continue the dream.
Yeah, man. So great, so great. What year was that, brother, again?
3 years ago is when I left Michigan.
Okay, so that was 2023.
Yeah, maybe 22. But I was in a touring band, Perfectly Imperfect, for 5 years before that. So our band was working, 35 shows a month before COVID. And then when COVID happened, my band broke up. I mean, not broke up. We could still get back together. But that dream just kind of fizzled like a lot of people that were touring during COVID. And so I really just had to recreate myself on the fly, and being locked down during COVID, just watching every stand-up comedy special that exists, I came out with a vengeance and a mission.
Yeah, man, and you're doing it for real. Like I like to say, you're doing it for real. I mean, you're all over social media. You actually got the tour going on right now, the Bear Love Comedy National Tour right now going on. You got something coming up September 12th at the Red Tail Hawks Bar and Grill at 26026 Member Lane in Sorrento, Florida. You're going to be out there.
That's going to be a good one. I can't wait for Florida.
Yeah, I bet, brother.
We used to always go down to Florida every other year.
Yeah, brother, and where were you?
So I'm excited for Florida.
Yeah. Where were you born? And
we did Myrtle Beach.
You did Myrtle Beach. Where were
Michigan.
you born? Oh, you're born in
Michigan. Everybody our glory land is Florida, Orlando specifically. So if you're from Michigan, nobody's real positive about being from Michigan. And so we used to go to the glory land of Florida. So we're super excited about our Florida run that is in September. We're still adding a couple dates that we're going to release in the next couple days.
Yeah,
but that's going to be fun. So to become a touring comic, I'm a hippie, so I always have long hair. It lets us know the last time we saw a judge. But and there's that weird stage when you've cut your hair for court and when it gets to grow back out. There's that weird stage where it just doesn't look right when you're growing it out. And that's how starting a national tour is, because nobody knows you yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so there's a weird stage where you kind of, it always reminds me of Zoolander when they're, do you remember the movie Zoolander with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson?
Yeah, man.
So he's doing his own makeup just to sneak in to steal the files. And he says, when I first started as a model, I used to do my own makeup, promoting and producing. And that's what gets you through that weird phase of your hair, is you can wait for somebody to pick you up and you can get in somebody else's world. But really, if you have the ability to hustle, that's what's going to get you out of the muck to that next level. And then once you are I hate to say product, once you're a product that these bars all want to work with, then it does really get a lot easier, because people want to work with people who have already done what they're looking for. It's not that they don't want to take a chance on somebody, but they are running a business. They do have servers that need to show up and pay their rent. And if there's only 17 people, that server's not paying her rent. You know what I mean? And so, and we hate to sell tickets because, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want to push. And there is a point where you just get tired of pushing for tickets. You know what I mean? I was just booking another show today and I was just thinking like, do I got to push? And so, I understand that, like, hating to have to sell tickets, but I really, don't think there's a lot of people that make it to that next step without taking responsibility of their own tour management. Luckily, we actually got signed up with some management, so we were very lucky to have people and management's not going to do everything for you. They'll help with 70%, and you still got that 30% of loose ends that you really got to. The hustle is everything.
Yeah, man, it is. It's the hustle, and you're doing a lot out there. I mean, you just got done with the bong-a-thon. I mean, I saw some of the photos. It reminded me of Woodstock out there. It was, a crazy scene, and you live the character, Bear. You God bless you. You live the character, Bear. You have the gimmick. You have the stage presence. You wear the get-up, and you live it, and you're authentic, and that's a big deal. People don't realize that. I just want to mention too, Wrestling with Comedy, our YouTube channel. We're very happy. We want to thank everyone. We just hit 750 subscribers, and I appreciate that, brother. I really do, Bear. Yep. And that's not paid subscribers. We're not getting them from another country.
That's real.
It's real, and we're so happy to have that. We want to say thank you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We appreciate any likes here. And we got someone already coming in, Billy Cox. We've had the wrestlers at Beerathon before, and Bear is here tonight talking about it. Bear, talk a little bit about how you come up with the name Bear Love Comedy, and a little bit about the background and being a hippie and bringing it into comedy. Let's talk about it.
Well, my dad loved to say, I named you that, not the hippies. So my dad just nicknamed me that, I guess, at 5-6 days old. Jared is my name, so Jer Bear. It just stuck from 5 days old.
Wow.
And so I've just always been Bear. Sometimes when I was in trouble, I got called Jared, like your middle name. Man. That's my legal name. That's the one that when mom's watching, when God's watching, that's when I'm Jared. But otherwise, I've been Bear most of my whole life.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of it was a moment at Burning Man, 2007. I had a mortgage company in San Diego. I was vice president of Midway Financial Services, $120 million a year mortgage company. And so basically a big, huge call center, and we were helping get people out of loans that were about to adjust, that were just a horrible situation that was going on back then. And so I'm selling loans. They used to call me the Yoda of loans because I could really get on people's level, like, you know what I mean? Like with the old man talking, how you doing, John?
Yeah, man.
So I've traveled a lot, so I really can get on people's level. And so that was the fun part about, just smoking weed and talking to people about loans. We didn't take it real seriously. That's why we were really good at it. And then we did take it really seriously to where we were running 120 million a year companies that very powerful people tried to buy. They're in politics now, so I won't mention who tried to buy us, but powerful people in finance tried to buy us. We said no. But I was at Burning Man, and I realized that San Diego, I was possibly on psychedelics, and I realized that San Diego was stealing drinking water. They drained a river that fed a lake called the Salton Sea, and basically it was a river that had used to go towards the ocean, but the city made it go out towards the desert in Palm Springs.
Yep.
And it made a lake. And your grandparents and my grandparents could have retired there, worked their whole life to go retire around this lake. San Diego bought out the politicians and sent that river. That was an accident that was going over the hill anyways. They corrected that accident, and they sent that drinking water down to San Diego so that I could shower after Burning Man 2007. And I just didn't feel comfortable with my own convictions as a human to go home to San Diego, to go home to that mortgage company, because San Diego is not a sustainable place for 2 million people to live in the desert. And so I had this weird mushroom trip about not living in San Diego, and I moved to Oregon to learn how to farm. And so I am a character. And so I had a lot of good joke writers that taught me what it is to be a comic. You know what I mean? And so I'm really proud of myself as a comic as well as a personality on stage. And my comicness, I am excited. Like tonight after this, I have the whole night where I can just write. I want to add some tags to some of my bits that have some legs. Stuff I like that I've been saying for a while. And there's just such a good premise that I can add 4 or 5 more examples and then not get tired of that joke for myself.
Yeah. I mean, like I had said, Bear, and I say it the way it is. You got a lot of viewers coming in here, Bear. They're making comments. You got someone saying you're a gentleman and you're very classy. Curious if Bear was hooking up loans or mortgages, or if it was Jared in a button down. Bear killed it at bat. But Bear, you live it. You live the gimmick, and it's a big deal. And we mentioned this before, brother, and I'm sure you agree with me. Professional wrestling and stand-up comedy are similar, and that's the same way it was in pro wrestling. If you live the gimmick and you're authentic, you're going to be more believable, more credible. More credible, and you're going to be not only more credible, but you're also going to get more bookings, and people are going to gravitate towards you. Now you've done a lot here. You got the Cap Hill Confidential coming up September 26th, Denver, Colorado. You've been on the podcast appearance with the KillTony Girls, Love on the Line, episode 9, with starring Heidi Regina and Valerie Vaughn of the KillTony show.
I love Valerie. That's my homegirl.
I bet, brother. How the hell did you get that booking, and how was it to work with those lovely ladies?
So basically, when I get into something, I really get into something. And so the way that the KillTony people know me is there were so many people that were coming off of that KillTony open mic and getting like national recognition, but not knowing what to do with it. And my history from being in a band that we got ourselves booked like 35 shows a month, I just saw these comics not knowing how to do the branding and the marketing part. So I really just got passionate about helping some of the newer people that did get some of their bucket pull power coming out of KillTony. And so I just was helping people with their branding. And that's how I met Valerie. Then when they opened their podcast up, I just supported it and messaged them, and they told me when to get up there and be on that. And
that's so cool, really man. Fun. That's so cool.
Yeah, they're sweethearts. They really are. They're both really smart. Even though they're both very attractive, they both are really smart. So that podcast is really, it's more than just 2 hot girls talking. They've really got some good angle.
Wow, man, that's incredible. So we have someone here that's been there, done that, so to speak, as far as like being on Love on the Line, the big podcast ran by Heidi, who's the lady that brings the drinks on the Kill Tony show on every Monday night, big name, and also another beautiful lady, Valerie Vaughn from the Kill Tony show. Bear Love Comedy was actually a guest on their podcast. He made the appearance. You've done a lot. Let me ask you about this comedian. I just wanted to mention it to you. I met him out in Austin, Texas, and knowing you know a lot of different comedians, and you probably know this man. I want to mention, perfect gentleman. What a nice person in general, and a great comedian. Chase Stratton. Do you know him? Chase Stratton out of Denver, Colorado.
I don't think I know Chase.
Oh, you don't know Chase? I mean, big, yeah. But he was out there. He was out there in Texas. I met him out there, and I figured when I got you on beer, I'd ask you. But you got someone else here. I want to mention this gentleman, William Conway, the one and only Will C's here. He's like, Bear Love is here with the real deal on one show. Do you know the one Will C? Do you know that guy? Do you know the one Will C? Will Conway?
Yeah, I've seen him out on the internet.
Yeah, he likes you, man. He's on here. You're a popular guy. Now, are you constantly? This is a question. I'm a podcaster, brother. I have to ask you: are you constantly on mushrooms and ganja when you perform?
There's a point where it's just called a perma trip, and you don't need the wheels anymore for the bus to keep moving.
Okay. Let's talk about that. You must be. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Beer, you must be so proud of this. The viral clip, 1.5 million views, and it was titled "The 3 Rules of Acid." Talk about it, brother.
Well, you know the 3 rules of acid, right?
I don't, but you can tell us.
Water's wet, fire's hot, and you can't fly.
Okay.
Yeah, and oh man. Okay.
How did you do it? How'd you do it, brother? How'd you do it?
Let me tell you about my last DMT trip. So, one time I smoked DMT in 2009, right? Which is dimethyltryptamine. It's released when you're born and when you die. And I smoked DMT, and I saw like all these like colors, like almost like a carnival, like the red, blue, green, like primary colors, but like almost like the big blow up stuff that's red, blue, green, And so I like saw this little like jester's world. And sure enough, 17 years later, that's a DMT trip from 17 years. Now I'm at this music festival, and I won't say which one, and I smoked DMT again, and the people had set up a jousting thing. Like it was a blow-up jousting thing, like you would have at like a big party or a prom or something, like a blow-up thing.
Yep.
And basically, I hit the DMT when I was there, and it showed me that 17 years ago, when I imagined that jester's world, that was me creating this dream, and now I'm physically living where I could hit somebody with a jousting thing, and so like. Deja vu, people like say it's a very spiritual thing, but I really think deja vu is us remembering creating a moment. And I had that with my last DMT trip, where it showed me that the whole last 17 years were 100% manifested out of my own head. And so with that knowledge, I just say, think good, dream big, like imagine yourself inside dreams, like KRS-One says, when the rich get richer, take that picture and visualize yourself inside it, because then when they say the rich get richer, that's you, and so basically, like, and I've stumbled in and out of this when I created the mortgage company, when I created, these different things, like I've stumbled in and out of having faith, but like my last DMT trip just was without a question, just showed me that we completely create ourselves. And Freud talked about the id, which is the identity. And I think the identity is the most important one. Like I had the identity that I was having so much fun in this trippy world. And then all of a sudden the universe created even that to the detail of the jousting like colors of this trip. So I just think like dream big, and that what you say about yourself is so important.
I agree.
And
I agree.
So just what they, and to be a wrestling character, you got to have that id. You know what I mean?
That's right, man. I agree with you. If you're just joining us, it's episode 48. We are live right here on Wrestling with Comedy. I'm your host, the Real Deal Joel Davis. Very special guest, Denver-based comedian, producer, promoter. He's all-around talent. He's also been in the music business. Bear Love Comedy is joining us here tonight. We welcome you all in. Any questions or comments, bring them in. The numbers just keep on going up. Bear, you've done a lot. You're basically a raw storytelling comedian. You're sharp observation humor. How did you get that, that technique, and what can you give to maybe some of the comedians or fans out there that are listening, advice about maybe following your footsteps, so to speak?
Well, I've been a traveler, my family's talkers. Like, my grandpa knows everybody. My dad's very friendly to like waitresses and just people in general in public, which can be embarrassing, for a kid when people are just talking to everybody. But I think so. My family is personable, but I truly think that my survivalness needed it, because weed was not legal in Michigan, and I'm not a liar. I don't do the Visine and all that crap. So I just I got chased around by the cops and eventually out of the state, and I moved to California with a backpack and a tent to San Diego.
Wow. You've been over the West Coast, yeah.
So you really have to learn how to, talk to everybody, because otherwise there's missed opportunities, you know what I mean, just for survival. So I think that hitchhiking, that's where I learned how to make a joke. Hey, I'm going west and I don't murder. Can I ride?
Nice.
People love that one. It usually kills the iceberg in the room. Yep. And so I think that I feel like parents used to say, like, you can call us if you're doing good and if you're doing bad. But like, I had this real stubbornness when I was like 19 or 20 that I just was going to go make something out of myself. And so I really put myself out there rather than like having full family support. I really put myself out there needing to, almost like San Diego was an escape room, and I was going to use the tools, use my communication to make that thing work for me. And I showed up with a backpack and a tent, and I left with a mortgage company that people wanted to buy. And I ended up hitchhiking to Oregon from there, and I've even hitchhiked to Guatemala.
Wow. Wow, you're a traveler. I mean, even on foot, you're really, if you just joined us, like we had mentioned earlier, I just want you to know that this man right here, Bear Love Comedy, has done a lot. He's been all around. He's been all around.
I've jumped on freight trains.
He's jumped on freight trains. We have about 9 minutes left. I mean, this man right here, we're talking about definitely a part 2 on this gentleman, because he's got a lot to talk about, and he's basically inspiring people all across. We got something called Deal in the Names, brother, and I did want to mention something about the creation you made, which I enjoy personally myself, the Comedy Cartel, 5,000 plus members and growing. I did want to talk about that a little bit. Before we get to that, brother, with 9 minutes left, Bear, and I really appreciate you being here tonight with us, I'd like to do the Deal in the Names with you, and we're going to start off the number one name, Deal in the Names, one word or one statement, brother, please. The first name is Mark Norman.
And what comes to my head?
Yes. One word or one statement?
Writer.
Excellent. The second name on Deal in the Names with Bear Love Comedy here tonight is Dylan Cantor.
Local producer.
Excellente. The third name on Deal in the Names with Bear Love Comedy tonight, Wrestling with Comedy every Tuesday night, every Thursday night, is Robin Williams, the late, great Robin Williams. More committee. Okay, Deal in the Names. Number 4. We have 5 names on your list, brother. The number 4 name is James Moss.
Rat Boy James. Legend.
And the last name on Deal in the Names here tonight with Bear Love Comedy is the late, great John Candy.
Oh, Uncle John.
Uncle John. That's excellent. Brother, you are definitely a pleasure, man. I'm so glad to have you on here tonight. We're in different parts of the country, but, to get on here on the show, to work together, because basically we're working a show together tonight, and it's so great to have you here tonight. We got finished this statement. I'd like you to finish the statement, and then we'll jump back on your social media and talk to you a little bit more about your career and where you're going with your big tour. And we did want to talk a little bit about that big bong-a-thon that you had just, you were involved in that bong-a-thon. But finish the statement, brother, and here it goes. In stand-up comedy, if you want to be successful, you must
be a whore.
Oh, that has to be one of the best. I mean, brother, I'm going to tell you, I'm a straight shooter, brother. I don't bullshit. That was one of the best finish the statements, bro. That is definitely a clip. That's an Instagram clip. That was good. Shows, and it's almost true because they say, I hate to say it, but you know what they say. I'm not even going to repeat it, but in comedy, sometimes that's just the way it is. You know how that goes, brother. Let's talk about this. The comedy cartel. How did you create it, and how did it become so successful?
So, the cartel. Basically, I found out that you got to be careful sharing your victories in town until you've already performed on that show, because then you might get bumped by somebody who. Just by accidentally letting somebody know that it has more seniority than you, I've accidentally gotten bumped. And so people are more cautious to share their stage connections and club connections with local people is what I have found. Now, when we opened it up to national and we started networking all these comics nationally, there's only 10% of them that travel club to club. And because it opens up so much more opportunities for those 10% that are even traveling like that, I just feel like people are more apt to share these advice when it's not just giving the same people in your scene, all of this, so it's just this weird thing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Just started sharing, and then it got crazy where so many people shared that it just became the way. And just like Bongathon, I'll answer both with both. Just like Bongathon, it's got a real intention that they set. And when you get there, everybody's going to welcome you with a Bongathon. Like, if you don't know anybody, like if you're going to go up to one of these camps, you literally you don't have to know them and say, hey, I know John, I want to come and say hi to you. You just say Bongathon, and you walk right in.
And you're in.
With a Bongathon. And so I feel like Comedy Cartel, we set that same intention. It doesn't matter if you're an open micer sharing your first mic because you're pumped and you want to hear what the old guys think. It doesn't matter if you're an old guy and you just want to come and tell the young guys, what you think about their tours and, different angles of how they're trying to be into comedy. So it just turned into where there's an intention of all these people that come in for whatever reason they are with a positive attitude where, we're just have that Bongathon, like positive intention set up. And that's what we're trying to do. We've had to consistently reset that intention. So I just appreciate the whole group. And there's a whole network of people who are there to remind people that we're a supportive network. And it's turned really crazy. Like, I was just able to get my friend stage time in Minnesota, and I haven't been to Minnesota in 20 years. But somebody hit me up yesterday. Hey, I'm going to Minnesota. Who do you know? Hey, that is good people out there. Let's hit up Lori Finlay.
Yeah.
So she's doing big things out there.
I mean,
that'd be a good one to interview. You should get Lori on here.
Yeah, Lori's welcome. Lori, if you want to reach out, definitely would like to have you on the show. If Bear's recommending you, then you got to go. It's like the Bongathon. It's like a password. Once you say it, you're in. And if you mention Bear Love Comedy, you're in. Bear, we're about at 3 minutes, brother. I definitely want to get your social media in there, but I want to mention something about you on air here for everybody to know. Bear Love Comedy also does these great events. Saturday, July the 18th, he did the Native Foods Denver, Laughing for a Cause. So this man right here is doing some charity work on comedy, on the stage, doing comedy and make people laugh. Bear, your social media, throw it out there real quick, brother.
So on all the apps, it's Bear Love Comedy. I had to add the comedy on there, otherwise it takes you to a porn site of
Oh, shit.
bear love. You don't want to go there. Yeah, otherwise it's bears catching fish in Alaska or otherwise. But so Bear Love Comedy on all the apps, which makes it easy. Bear Love is my main Facebook, and YouTube is Bear Love Comedy. But my Instagram is where I post most of my stuff, so follow me on there. But yeah.
Yeah, man, and that's Bear Love Comedy, our guest tonight here live on Wrestling with Comedy, episode 48. Again, a Denver-based, but all around the country. I mean, he's hitchhiked across the country. He's hitchhiked out of the country. He's a stand-up comedian, promoter, producer. He runs the Comedy Cartel on Facebook, one of the pages, over 5,000 members. He likes to reach out and help people in comedy. He's got the tour. He's touring right now. He's going to be September 12th in Florida. He's also going September 26th. He's going to be at the Cap Hill Confidential, another show in Denver, Colorado. He's doing it for real, like I like to say. He's Bear Love Comedy. What a guest he was here tonight. We appreciate everybody joining us here tonight. At Bear Love Comedy, thank you. As we say good night, I'd like to tell everybody, like I tell them all the time, my brother, keep it real at all costs. Good night, everybody. Yeah.